Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bleacher Takes. It's been a week since we've been on here. We're excited you guys are joining us here on this Sunday evening. I got your boy Josh with me. Josh, get a little cold there, bro?
Yeah, bro, it's a little
Ran
chilly
and,
in this room tonight,
ran and
so
put a little hoodie on. Said, bro, it's the middle of the summer and man's got a hoodie on in the house. Man, but it's good to be back on here. Got some baseball, some football, a couple things to talk about here. We're going to get right into it. But Josh, how you doing, man?
pretty good, man. Ready to talk some sports. Haven't been on in a minute. Missed a couple episodes, but you've been holding us down, so good to be back.
I always will, baby. I'm always here. I'm the anchor. Let me tell you. But it's good to be on here. Got some things to talk about. We're going to talk MLB trade deadline. We're going to talk about big series. We're going to talk about the standings update. The NFL is right around the corner. We're going to go over some Madden ratings, which are big in the media right now because of a couple of the interesting ratings, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. Josh and I are pretty passionate football fans, so we'll definitely
Yeah.
have some good discussions on that. But Josh, we're just going to get right into these to the MLB here. We got a couple big storylines. First, I want to go over trade deadline. Some outfielders, some infielders, some starters, some relievers, stuff like that. Guys who are big names who are available, but no bigger name than the name Juan Soto. I know that as a Cardinals and Padres fan, you are jumping up and down, salivating at the fact that Juan Soto has been rumored to them quite a bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about three teams in which I think he has a shot of going to. But I've said this to everybody who's asked me about my thoughts on Juan Soto. I'll say it again. Juan Soto is a generational superstar, 23 years old, who still has 2 years left on his contract after this year. And literally was the leader in walks this year. On base percentage is 400, and his on base percentage the last 3 years has been the best in baseball. So he's like literally our modern day Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, with how often he gets on base, and he's 23 years old.
Yeah.
So if your team is, like if you have an MLB team, they're in on Juan Soto. I'll tell you that right now. Every team wants him. Every team's going to try. They'll trade everything they can to get this guy, because not only are you trading for a young player, you're trading for a guy who's going to have 2 more seasons, like I said, and you have the chance to re-sign him. But even if you don't, 2 years of a top 3 hitter in baseball, over
I mean, that's two
maybe not
years
top
that
3,
that's
yeah,
2 years that you
and
can,
the end of this
turn
year,
around your franchise. Like that guy's a
right?
franchise player. So
Right. And a guy like, if your team's struggling to bring in fans, he's a guy that
yeah.
everybody's going to show up to the ballpark to watch.
Yep.
He's incredible. But there is 3 teams that I want to discuss. And I'm not good. People are going to see this and they're going to see some bias probably from us because of the 3 teams that I think we should talk about here. But these 3 I really do think have one, a really good shot at getting him, and 2, different ways of going about getting him. We got the Cardinals, Padres, and Yankees, and I think there are 3 teams that have a good path to getting Soto, but for all different reasons. So I'm going to start with the Cardinals here, and I'm going to be the first one to say I think that the Cardinals have the best shot at getting Juan Soto. I think that they're a franchise that won right now. They might not be the ones to sign him to an extension, but they're a team that, they're in the playoff hunt this year, and in the next 2 years, definitely still going to be in the playoff hunt. And what a lot of things that they don't have is consistency in their outfield. We've talked about Tyler O'Neill. We've talked about Dylan Carlson, Harrison Bader. We've talked about those guys, but none of them are super consistent hitters. And I mean, they're all good defenders, but you don't need to have 3 great defensive players out there if none of them can hit consistently.
Yeah.
And who's more consistent than a guy who gets on base 4 out of 10 times plus? So I think they're really in on Juan Soto, and I think they have the prospects to do so. Josh, I know you have a little bit of inside information on this. You follow a bunch of different reporters on Twitter, much like I do with the Yankees. you've heard some good rumblings about the Cardinals.
Yeah. So I mean,
Um, what are your thoughts on them getting him? Do you think they got a really good shot?
so they've already offered. I mean, two trade packages to the Washington Nationals for Soto, and both of them got declined. So I think I haven't really seen any reports on anybody else even offering one. I think I saw a Yankees offer, but other than that, I've only seen the Yankees and Cardinals offer. And with Cardinals offering, two packages already and both of them getting declined, I think that they know what it's going to take to get him. So therefore, I mean, I'm not even trying to be biased here. I mean, after two, and they're still interested. So after two trade packages, and both of them getting declined, like what you have to do at this point to get this guy.
And I'm going to
So
interject here for just a second because I think that, the Cardinals, they could throw the whole kitchen sink at him, give them
yeah,
everything they wanted. But the Padres or the Nationals are still going to turn it down until the trade deadline because they're
yeah,
going to get the best offers they can from every team. So the Cardinals right now probably, I don't know who's all offered things for Juan Soto. I'm sure every team's called, saying, okay, who do you like? What can we get together as a package? And the Cardinals, I think, probably have the best overall like prospects and young player package that they can send over to the Nationals. But obviously, they're going to decline it right now until they wait and see what they can get. And again, Juan Soto is the one guy on these list of guys we're going to talk about who I still don't think gets traded at the trade deadline just because he still does have 2 more years and it's going
yeah,
to take an absolute monster amount of stuff to happen. And I think if they wait until the offseason, they can get some more MLB ready players. Like teams like the Yankees, they have the best record in baseball. They're not going to want to give up a lot of their core players right now. But if they lose in the playoffs, don't win the World Series, that kind of thing, they're probably more willing to blow it up a little bit to get a guy like him. So, but yeah, the Cardinals, it looks like the best offer right now would be Dylan Carlson, Jordan Walker, the number 1 prospect, Matthew Liberatore, their number 2 prospect, Mason Wynn, their 4th prospect, Michael McGreevy, their 6th prospect, which Dylan Carson's an MLB ready outfielder. I think that this is probably going to have to take Nolan Gorman as well to get in that because they first of all, they want prospects, but they also want MLB ready players. And but the thing is, Walker and Wynn are both those are both they're shortstops and third basemen, right? Wynn and Walker.
yeah.
So maybe not Gorman unless they want third base, shortstop, and second base. But I don't know if the Cardinals would do that. But again, I mean it's Juan Soto. So I think that's probably. I mean, I really really like that package.
But I was seeing
I think
reports of the Nationals only wanting 2 to 3 of 2 to 3 players, and with I
yeah.
can't remember exactly who they were, but from my source, that is, I mean, I think it's pretty accurate. I mean, so far, some of the stuff that he's been saying has been true. So, I mean, I honestly, and I'm not trying to be biased. I know like you said, people are going to think that we're being biased here, but I think these 3 teams really do have the best shot to get Juan Soto. And so I don't know. It's going to be interesting, man. I really, really hope the Cardinals get him. I think they do have the best shot, but I
They
don't
make a
know.
whole lot of sense for sure. And they're a team too that doesn't have a straight up like DH either. So if they still
Yeah.
wanted to play some of those good outfielders in the outfield, I mean, you can DH Soto sometimes if you want.
Yeah.
Uh,
Like
so,
he's going to, no
and
matter what,
yeah,
his bat's going to be in the lineup. So,
no joke. So, yeah, and the whole 2 to 3 thing. I mean, as far as the talent level goes, I think it'd have to be 2 to 3 like really amazing players. But
yeah.
when there's teams bidding against each other, I think it's going to take a whole lot more. And you're going to give up probably more than you want to. It's going to definitely hurt for the guys you give up, but I mean you're going to be getting Juan Soto out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
Padres, I really like their the young guys they're giving up in this trade offer. I saw that the package that they are offering is CJ Abrams, the infielder who's been called up probably maybe a little bit too early for the Padres timeline, but with injuries to Tatis and even Machado was out there for a little while, and it's just some slumping from Kim and even Cronenworth not having his best year. They had to call him up, and they've had him playing. He's obviously a great player. Mackenzie Gore, who's got crazy upside as a starting pitcher, has been a reliever for the Padres this year, but a guy who, was a top prospect in all baseball. Those two, Robert Hassel, who's the Padres' #1 overall prospect, who he played in the Futures game. He's an outfielder, and he's pretty nasty with it. James Woods, their 3rd prospect, and Jackson Merrill, their 4th prospect. I really like that return as well. The two things that are of note and why I think the Yankees maybe have a good shot at getting him as opposed to these other two teams is because the Nationals are trying to do kind of a 2 birds, 1 stone right now. They're trying to trade away Juan Soto and get the best overall package, but they also their team's basically up for sale right now. They're trying to sell their team and change ownership. And the new owners probably aren't going to want to come in with a contract like Patrick Corbin's on the books. Patrick Corbin's owed like $25 million this year and next year. And then in 2024, it jumps up to like $35 million. Mm-hmm. So they're really wanting a team to eat this. The thing with the Padres is they're going to have to go really deep in the luxury tax if they want to do that, because they already have bad contracts with Hosmer and Yu Darvish. And then the Cardinals, they're just not ones that have really been known to eat big contracts like that. So that's the only thing about the Cardinals that scares me. And that's one of the, it really depends on how much the Nationals really care about that. Like if they really want to get rid of Corbin, I might take the Cardinals and Padres chances down a little bit just because I don't know. I mean, they'd really have to reach into the bag and pay, maybe, get into that luxury tax. The Yankees, though, they've shown that they don't care. They're just, them, the Dodgers, the Mets, they don't care. They're going to pay whatever it costs to get a championship. And so if the Yankees think that, Juan Soto is the missing piece this year, or if this offseason, if they don't win it all, they could trade a whole lot for him. But I do have the Yankees in this trade offer getting Patrick Corbin as well. I think they'd be trading away Gleyber Torres, the all-star, second baseman / shortstop. Wasn't a great shortstop, but is a fantastic second baseman, a top 5 second baseman in the league, and he's 24, I think he is. Home run hitter, just a smooth defender at second base. Nestor Cortez, which we all know the story of him, starting pitcher who's been fantastic, otherworldly this year, like a 2.3 ERA. And he's just funky. He's got some nasty pitches, but does a lot of crazy stuff with arm slots and stuff like that. Their #1 overall prospect, and I think he's like the 7th rated prospect in all baseball, Anthony Volpe. He's a shortstop. Jason Dominguez, who's like 30th in baseball and 3rd on the Yankees prospect list. He's a center fielder. Austin Wells, a catcher, and Ken Waldachuk, our 5th overall prospect. And, maybe another prospect here or there. But to get him and Patrick Corbin, the Yankees, they've taken pitchers who have not had great success, bring them over, and are able to kind of retool them and turn them into great pitchers. I mean, just look at Clay Holmes, their relief pitcher. They got him from the Pirates for basically nothing, and he was a bad pitcher on the Pirates. And they turned him into probably the best relief pitcher in baseball this year. So I think that they'd be willing to take on that Patrick Corbin. They were interested in him anyways when he was a free agent. So I like their chances there. But, again, it's all speculation. And if I was a betting man, I would say Juan Soto is a National after the trade deadline, but that he gets traded in the offseason.
Yeah.
But
from
you never know.
From some of the stuff that I'm seeing also, I'm going to agree with you too. I don't think he's going to be traded. If he does, then it's going to be one of the 3 teams that we're talking about. And honestly, I know I said the Cardinals were my favorites, but I've been reading some stuff just not like right now that's been saying that the Yankees are the top team to probably get him. So
that's exciting, man. I know that, from everything I've seen, it's these 3 teams, but again, it's, every other team's interested too. But it's pretty interesting that the 3 teams who are fans of are the ones really interested in him. So,
Yeah.
and they're all kind of different too. The Yankees are that high roller, a lot of championships, can spend the money. Padres are that young team who likes to make those big trades, but maybe doesn't have the deepest pockets. And then the Cardinals, they have that storied franchise with being the baseball city, being beloved, but maybe not always going into the luxury tax and not always having like the best or the most like trades of most front offices. So, but they did make a splash. Got Nolan Arenado. They got Paul Goldschmidt, and look how good those two have been for them.
Yeah.
So maybe they see that and decide to go for it. A couple other guys I want to talk about though. Andrew Benintendi on the Royals. He's a free agent to be. He's on the trade block. He's been a very good hitter this year. He's not a power hitter by any means, but he is a slap hitter, a guy who gets on base. He's got a 389 on base percentage. Mariners, they're trying to make that playoff push right now through the wild card. They're a team that I could see really wanting him. And even the Phillies, man, I think the Phillies are really interested in him because they had the injury to Bryce Harper, and they've got two guys playing the outfield who should be DHs. Kyle Schwarber, if you've ever seen him play the outfield, you understand what I mean. And Nick Castellanos is the same way. They're slow. They're not great defenders, and they're having to play both of them at the same time, and that's why their defense is the worst in baseball this year. So I could see them interested in Benintendi, and the Yankees were pretty interested in him until it came out that he was unvaccinated. So that throws a big wrench in the plans because they have to play Toronto quite a bit. A couple of these other guys here, I don't want to go through all these players here, but another big name, Wilson Contreras of the Cubs. I think it's pretty foregone conclusion that he's gone. A lot of people thought that he might get traded last year when they did their fire sale, but he's a free agent to be this year, and it doesn't look like they're going to re-sign him. So it looks like he's gone, and a couple of the really big contenders need some catcher help. The Astros have one of the worst hitting catching tandems in baseball. The Mets have guys just hurt left and right. I think those two teams are definitely the favorites to get him. And I think, you add Wilson Contreras to the Mets or the Astros, that really scares me as a Yankees fan to see either one of those with him there. Because I know when we play the Astros, we match up pretty well with them, and it's always a great game. But I always know that their catchers are kind of an automatic out. You see Wilson Contreras come up there with his 900 OPS and his 30 home runs a year. Definitely not a guy you want to mess with. And he's got an 87th percentile pop time, which means there's only 13% of catchers in the league who can throw faster to second base than him. So with him and his hitting, he's nasty. Couple other pitchers I want to talk about here. Luis Castillo, Reds pitcher. I think the Cardinals are looking for starting pitching help, but I don't think the Reds are willing to trade Castillo to them because he's another guy. He's got control beyond this year as well. But did you see his start against the Yankees, Josh? That guy went out there and he threw five no-hit innings, and then they got a hit off him, but he threw 7 innings of really good ball and looked like the bright lights didn't scare him at all. I could really see him in New York in the pinstripes. But a couple of big teams are interested in him as well. The Astros seem to be offering quite a bit for him as well. And the Braves, man. The Braves, we're going to talk about them in just a minute, but they are on the heels of the Mets. And I think if they had a guy like Luis Castillo, man, they could run away with that division. A guy who I think the Cardinals could also get is Frankie Montas of the A's. He's been linked to the Cardinals for a long time now. Starting pitcher. He's very good, but he's kind of been like up and down. But when he's on, he's nasty. I think the Cardinals are willing to, they're going to have to get probably 1 or 2 starters to continue to make a run at things. Flaherty's hurt. Matz just went back on the IL. Wainwright's like 85 years old. So they need some starting pitching help there. Michaelis has obviously been good for them this year, but it takes more than 1 or 2, and they can't get anybody healthy. First of all, I knew to get some guys.
I knew even without the injuries that coming in this season, pitching was going to be the problem for the Cardinals. I mean, when you have Adam Wainwright, arguably one of your best pitchers on your team, the dude should have retired 7 years ago or something like that, then you kind of have a problem. But
Well,
don't know,
and
man.
that's one thing I said too coming into the season. I said, the Cardinals. I'm not really worried about their hitting, which they're hitting. I mean, they've got
Hasn't been
two,
great.
3 or 4 guys who are fantastic, and then the whole rest of the lineup has been garbage. Um, and then their pitching is so inconsistent, and really they've been saved by Ryan Helsley,
Mm-hmm.
the relief / closer, who they don't really want to name the closer. He's been fantastic this year. If it wasn't for him, I mean, they'd have a bottom 5 pitching staff in baseball.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that they really need to make some changes. They need to get some trades happening. There's some relievers that are available. Daniel Bard from the Rockies, David Robertson from the Cubs. Those guys are certainly going to go, especially Robertson. They're trading him for sure. Cardinals, they need to go out and they need to make some moves because I think that division of theirs is definitely open for the tanking and they can take it. The Brewers are just, they say, you know what, we don't really care if you win is what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So they need to go out. They need to make some big moves. They need to get a couple starters, a couple relievers. Man, be crazy. But if they could get Juan Soto too, they would be in really good shape. But they did make Cardinals did make the news. A couple unvaccinated players on the squad. Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. They never have to go to Toronto. And if they go to Toronto in the playoffs, it'll be in the World Series. And I don't know. I think if that's starting to look like that's going to happen, first of all, something really crazy happened in baseball if the Cardinals and Blue Jays are meeting in the World Series. But if that's the case, I think Cardinals front office just starts poking those two with needles because you're not going to want to play without those guys. But again, Toronto has been 3rd or 4th in the AL East most of the year, so don't think they have to worry about that. But it is pretty interesting, and I think the biggest one that made news was Andrew Benintendi. His trade market was quite high. A lot of teams were really in on him. The Red Sox wanted him back. The Rays were interested in him. The Yankees were interested for sure with him. And you look at those teams, and what do they have in common? They go to Toronto a lot. And you can't have a guy like that on your team if you're going to Toronto all the time, which, Boston, they've got a bunch of guys unvaccinated, and we saw how much that killed them in the series. So, But it's interesting. I mean, we're never going to be political on here. We'll never get into stuff like that. But I do think that it's crazy. We're still talking about this stuff, and it's crazy how often it's still coming up. So I'm ready to be past it, but I don't think we ever will be. We got a couple big series that happened. Astros, they met the red hot Mariners. Mariners were on that huge winning streak. I think it got to 14 games heading out of the All-Star break. And then they ran into the Astros. And the Astros, man. Nate tried riling me up last night saying that they're the best team in baseball, which, if the Yankees somehow fell out of the MLB, I guess I could agree with you there. But no, I mean, they've been fantastic. They're 5-0 to start the second half. They swept the Mariners and made it look kind of easy doing so. So the Astros look real good. The Dodgers sweep the Giants as well. They're on that. You remember when I told you earlier in the year when the Padres were like half game back and I said, dude, Dodgers haven't gone on their annual run yet. And you're like, yeah. I know. Well, here it is. Here it is. They're running roughshod through the league. They've won 8 straight games, and their lead in the West is just growing by the day. And we had a lot of sweeps, though. The Blue Jays swept the Red Sox, and boy, I want to talk about this series. Friday night's game, Josh. Did you see the score to that?
Yeah, I was
28 to 5.
30 to 3 or something like that. Good grief.
Bro, the Blue Jays had 25 runs by the 5th inning.
Yeah.
How does that happen? I think it was in the 4th inning. They had no runs in the inning, and they had 2 outs, and they scored 11 runs with 2 outs. Like, how do you allow that to happen?
Well, I mean, the Red Sox let up like a inside the park grand slam or something like that. Dude lost in the lights and stuff like that. So
Jaron Duran, yeah, their young center fielder. That guy, I don't understand. They bat the guy lead off and they let him play center field every time when they have Jackie Bradley Jr., who's a great defender playing right field most of the time. Put him in center field, man. What are you doing? Jaron Duran looked absolutely lost on a couple plays in that game. They lose 28-5. Blue Jays win the next 2 games as well. And when you go back to before the All-Star game, the Red Sox last 5 games, they are 0-5 against the Yankees and Blue Jays in that span. And they've been outscored 67-13 in 5 games for a negative 54 run differential. I saw this stat on Twitter. It's the worst in any 5-game span for an MLB team since 1901.
Good.
a team that had playoff aspirations, heading towards the All-Star break, and then they got smacked. And that first game was an outlier maybe, but Blue Jays won 4-1, and then they won 8-4 today. So they're just Red Sox are just a mess. Their defense is absolutely atrocious, and they can't pitch. Everybody's getting hurt. It's crazy. A fun division to watch, which I thought was a division that really sucked. In the grand scheme of things, they do. But the Guardians and the White Sox played a 4-game series. They split 2 of 2. Guardians won the first 2. White Sox won the last 2. And the AL Central is wide open, man. The White Sox, I think, are starting to catch their stride a little bit and starting to play some pretty decent baseball. So,
about time.
Seriously, looking at their roster is insane. People were saying, it's them and the Astros coming into the year. And the White Sox were in 3rd place in their division until the All-Star break, basically. So, I don't know, but maybe they'll turn it on. And I've said that with them before. They beat the Yankees in a series earlier in the year when the Yankees seemed like they didn't really care. And I thought, maybe the White Sox will turn it on from here, and it hasn't happened. On the last series, I want to talk about Padres at Mets. Padres have won the first 2 games of this series, 4-1 and 2-1. Padres playing some good baseball, and there's some good news looming. Tatis is going to be starting a rehab stint here soon. Josh, you pretty excited about that?
Oh yeah. It's only going to make us better, man. So,
Yep. Go out, get him back. Go out and get Juan Soto. Watch out, Dodgers.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
At that point, you just preserve yourself and get the top wild card, and make the playoffs and run through. So, and your pitching has been really solid. Right now, Musgrove is absolutely dominating the Mets. I had it pulled up. Let me see here. Box score. Okay, so the Mets have 2 hits through 5 innings. They're in the 6th now, but through 5 innings, they've got 2 hits off Musgrove. I saw he went the first time through the lineup, and nobody got a hit. So I was like, uh-oh. We're about to see something crazy here. But yeah, 2 hits through 5 innings. It's a 0-0 game, though, because Carrasco, he pitched in and out of danger throughout the whole 5 innings that he was in the game. So Padres, it'd be really nice for them to come away with the sweep of the Mets in this one. Both teams are really just trying to establish the confidence going into the second half. Mets are getting gained on by the Braves really, really quick. And the Padres are, trying to preserve that second wild card spot right now because the Braves have the first one there. But we'll see what happens. I really like the Padres' chances, though, with these guys coming back. A little standings update. Of course, Yankees, first place, AL East, 66-31. They took 2 of 3 from Baltimore this weekend. Twins are 52-44. They took 2 from Detroit. But like I said, in that division, the division's super tight. The Guardians are only 3 back. White Sox are 4 back. So that'll be interesting to watch some mediocre baseball for the rest of the year between those clubs there. Astros running away with the AL West. This 3-game sweep of Seattle. The Mets, man. If they lose this game, the Braves will only be half a game out. I told you, man. I told you my prediction for the second half. The Braves were going to win that division, and
you called it.
Starting to look like it right now, man. Obviously, the Mets, they're going to be getting DeGrom back soon. He threw 60 pitches in a rehab start the other day. So I think probably 1 or 2 more rehab starts, and he's back in the bigs. That obviously a huge pickup for them. Insane pickup. But I don't know. I think the Braves are going to go out and get one of those big starting pitchers. I can really see them getting a guy like Frankie Montas or a guy like that and just really coming in roaring in that division. So NL Central, the Brewers are 53-43. They took the first 3 against Colorado and play the 4th game tomorrow. The Cardinals, man, this is where I'm saying they need to make some big trades. They're 2.5 out in this division. And this division is, it's open. It's there for the taking. Both these teams are going to have a bunch of easy wins the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They're playing the Padres, Reds, and Cubs, who all have close to 60 losses. So it's going to be a bunch of easy wins. So those games are going to matter when it comes head to head and when you play outside of the division. So, and they've got to just, they can't split series with teams in their division anymore. You've got to win those series. You've got to sweep those bad teams. So Cardinals, they need to get on it. They need to make some trades. They need to make some things happen there. And
Don't
then
count
the
on
Dodgers.
Don't count on
No, I wouldn't either. Yeah, they're not a team that usually ever does stuff like that, and their trade deadlines are usually pretty boring. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe they could surprise us, Josh. But again, don't throw your life savings into that boat. But,
yeah.
And the Dodgers, like I said, they're running away with the West. They're 64-30. Swept a 4-game set with the Giants. The Giants and Padres are just trying to make the playoffs through the wild card because these Dodgers, they go on these runs where it looks like they might never lose again. So that's where they're at right now. So, here's a good old Luke Voit come up to the plate. Come on, hit a bomb here. Luke Voigt's one of my favorite players. Love him.
I love him. Yep.
But he plays with so much energy. Even though he's not super athletic, he's not fast at all. But he's very emotional, leaves it all out there. And
yeah, he's a guy that plays with 100% every single time that he's on the field. So
basically,
love
he's
him.
Tim Snyder
or me, one of the two. Pick and choose, whichever one you want.
I guarantee you could probably run home to home faster than he could run home to second. So you can't really compare yourself to him. And plus, I'm big and beefy. So, big beefy boys. But they need to get him a bigger jersey, though. He's like the first 3 buttons on his shirt are always undone. Yeah, and man just can't button it. It's not fair. Get him a bigger chested jersey. Come on now, Padres, stop being so cheap. But we are going to move on, though. We're going to talk some NFL Madden ratings. I know it seems a little dumb to be talking about Madden ratings, but those go a long way into what people think how the quarterbacks and running backs and these key positions are ranked going into the year. So I do want to get our thoughts on this here. So we're going to start with the quarterbacks, and it's going to get heated, just so everybody knows. It's going to get heated real quick because I'm going to assume Josh isn't very happy with where his guy is rated. But we're going to get right into it here. Number 1 rated quarterback was Tom Brady, Buccaneers, 97. I'm going to go through them all real quick, and I'm just going to say them, and then we'll discuss. Aaron Rodgers was 2nd, 96. Mahomes, 3rd, 95. Then it was Josh Allen at 92. Joe Burrow, 90. Dak Prescott, 89. Justin Herbert, 88. Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson are 87s, and Matthew Stafford's an 85. Josh, your first thoughts on this? I know where you're going to go here, but what do you think of this?
Honestly, for the most part, I think this is pretty, accurate. I don't really think that, Patrick Mahomes is not a whole 3 overall better than Josh Allen. I think that they, if anything, are both 94s or 93s. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is really that much better than Josh Allen. But, I could sit here and talk about this for days and days and days. I'm not going to get too far into it. And then another thing is, how in the world is Lamar Jackson and honestly Russell Wilson rated higher than Matthew Stafford, a guy who just won the Super Bowl, had one of the best seasons that you could ask for as a quarterback. How is this dude not even in the 90s?
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy that they put Joe Burrow as a 90. but not like Matthew Stafford. Like, yeah, I'm not going to argue that Joe Burrow shouldn't be a 90 because I think he showed
Yeah.
us a lot this year, and I think he's a
Oh yeah.
fantastic quarterback.
Yeah.
But I think Matthew Stafford should be 89 or 90. I mean, he's right there with them, and
Yeah.
that's saying a lot for Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow was his first full season in the NFL. Matthew Stafford's a seasoned veteran, so for him to be the same rated as Joe Burrow and Matthew Stafford, like that's not a slight at either one of them. Like it's great, but one discussion I had too is I don't understand how we can put Dak Prescott sixth. This guy hasn't shown a whole lot. He goes on these games when he blows up some NFC least opponents, like my lowly Giants, the Eagles. He always has these big games against these bad teams, but in the big moments, it seems like he shies away. It seems like he doesn't really do a whole lot of good. So I'm not sure how he's a sixth overall quarterback. I think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's that upper echelon like a lot of these guys are. I mean, Lamar Jackson is a guy who won the MVP. He's a guy who, and he's lower than Dak. I don't know. And I mean, Russell Wilson's is low. He's 87, which I guess I'm fine with that. But I think his talent's way higher than that. Yes, he got hurt and he was on a very bad team. But when you think about it, that guy played on a team that was horrible in a division that had 3 playoff teams, including the 49ers, who made the NFC chip, and the Rams, who won the Super Bowl. They're played in a fantastic division. So I don't know. People said he had a down year. I'm like, yeah, but you see the team he was playing on, like they had nothing. And I also really, I don't know. I think I'm higher on Herbert than you are, but I think he's every bit as good as Joe Burrow. And I think that he should be a 90 as well. I know he didn't go to the Super Bowl, but his team is a lot. Like, this wasn't complete like the Bengals were. And some of the stuff that Herbert was doing on fourth down in some of those big games, like this guy's throw under pressure and his ability to create something out of nothing. There's only a couple guys in the league who I think do that better than him. And those guys are like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. Like, there's nobody better than him at that besides like those guys. And I think he's getting to be pretty close to par on course with them. So I don't know. I would have liked to see him higher, but again, I'm not too mad about these quarterback ratings. Tom Brady being a 97, I think is funny because when you think about a quarterback now, it's all about how much speed he's got, what he can do on the run. But Tom Brady's accuracy is out of this world, and he gets that ball out quick, so he ain't got to run anywhere. But do you want to move on to the running backs here? I'm just going to list them real quick, and then we'll discuss. Derrick Henry, 97, first overall. Nick Chubb, a 96, tied with Christian McCaffrey at 96. Jonathan Taylor's a 95. Dalvin Cook's a 94. Joe Mixon's a 93. Alvin Kamara's a 90. Aaron Jones is 89. And both Austin Eckler and Zeke are 88s. First thoughts on this, Josh? Anything that you can see that you disagree with?
For the most part, I agree with this also. Like, I think that Austin Eckler should be – I think he should be a 90. I mean, he's a pretty all-around, running back, could do literally everything. So for him to be under a 90, I think is kind of crazy. But other than that, no, I agree. I agree with it. So
Christian McCaffrey's is hard for me because we haven't seen him healthy in a little while.
But when
he's on, but that's the thing though, is we haven't, and the difference with that is, with a running back, when a guy's not healthy for a little while, I mean, we saw Saquon come back and just not look the same. Obviously, him and McCaffrey are 2 different type of running backs, but McCaffrey is going to come back and still have to carry the absolute load of his offense because they have 3 quarterbacks who I think all stink, are going to be his quarterback. Like, he's going to have to carry that team again. So I don't know. I think Jonathan Taylor really showed us last year that he should at least be a 96 with those guys. I don't see that there's any way you can put, especially after last season, 3 guys above him. Derrick Henry's, yes. I mean, his durability went down, but when he was on the field last year, he was insane. the best player on the offensive side of the ball last year in football.
Behind Josh
But I
Allen,
think Taylor, isn't he at the end? But yeah, no, I don't know. I really like Dalvin Cook's there. I think he's great. But yeah, the one that I think is egregious is Eckler. I mean, Joe Mixon was great, but he was also playing in a really good offense that people were focused more on the pass. Like they're willing to let him run the ball. And I can't see how he's 5 overall better than Austin Eckler. I think Mixon should come down a little bit, and Eckler should go up a little bit. But other than that, I'm not too upset about that. Wide receivers here though. Run through them real quick. Devontae Adams, number 1, 99 overall. Cooper Kupp, a 98. Tyreek Hill, 97. DeAndre Hopkins, 96. Stephon Diggs, 95. Justin Jefferson, 93. Mike Evans, 92. Terry McLaurin and Keenan Allen are both 91s, and Amari Cooper is a 90. What jumps out to you here?
Honestly, again, I don't think really anything. I think that everybody's graded pretty fairly here. I like to see my boy Stephon Diggs. Really?
Yeah. I'm going to start with, the first 2 I'm fine with. Adams and Kupp. I wouldn't even be upset if they put Kupp as a 99. Like, he was insane last year. But those 2 I'm fine with. Tyreek Hill, though. Do you know how many games I saw the Chiefs lose because the guy couldn't catch a ball?
Okay, but...
And what's your job as a wide receiver? You tell me this guy's a 97 overall. I understand he's really, really fast. I understand that. And obviously one of the hardest guys to guard in the whole league. Yeah. Maybe the hardest guy to guard because of how shifty and how quick he is.
We'll find out this year.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying too. Him and Patrick Mahomes kind of made each other. And we'll see what Mahomes is like without him. We'll see what Tyreek Hill does with good old tiny Tua. But Tyreek Hill is not a 97 overall to me. He's got to be more consistent with catching the ball. You tell me, well, okay, Hopkins was hurt last year. And this year he's going to miss some time because of steroids, basically. And he's 96 overall. But when they're both on the field, and you give me DeAndre Hopkins all day long over Tyreek Hill as long as he's healthy. Because I know that he's going to catch the ball. He's going to catch the ball in traffic. He's going to be that big body wide receiver. Can Tyreek Hill be that guy on the outside who you throw it up against Jalen Ramsey and you like your chances? I don't think so.
No, yeah.
I mean, again, he's a guy on the inside who works his way around. But those guys have to be able to catch the ball. It's like, Cooper Kupp. Him and Cooper Kupp kind of play a lot of the same type of football on the inside of the numbers in open space, have to catch those passes. And I saw Tyreek Hill drop a lot of those. You didn't see Cooper Kupp dropping those. And he's 1 point below him.
I mean, if anything, I think that you literally swap Hopkins and Hill. I don't really think that it's that big of a difference, but
I'm gonna tell you right now, and you're gonna like this, and I'm surprised you're not disagreeing, I'm surprised you haven't said this yet. I think that Tyreek Hill shouldn't be rated higher than Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs has been a guy who is just a go-to. You throw him the ball and he catches it. He goes out there and he works. He's going to put 100 receiving yards and a touchdown every game that he wants to. And he's going to go out and get his, and he's not going to drop the ball. He's got super glue hands. And I think that's exactly what you need out of a number 1 wide receiver. Yes, I know the upside Tyreek Hill has is higher than the upside of any other player because he's the fastest wide receiver in pads. I know those guys who run a faster time, but in football pads, he's the fastest player.
Yeah.
But consistency and catching those balls is really, really big for me. And I think Justin Jefferson, by the end of the year, we're going to be having him at number 1, number 2, number 3 best in the league. I think that he's a guy who's really go look at the numbers, dude. That guy.
I'm not disagreeing, but
if we're going to go bold predictions, but I mean, he's 6th. It's not that bold. I think obviously Hopkins is going to drop out of that. I think Hill's not going to have that great of a year. And so that already puts him 4th.
So are you saying without Hopkins, without Hopkins playing this year? Because I mean, if Hopkins plays
I think when Hopkins comes back,
then there's no way he's in the top 3. There's no way.
Well, maybe, but the thing is, Hopkins got injured last year, and he's getting to the age in which those injuries can make or break you, and he's already
Yeah.
taking some substances to try to help himself. So
Right.
I'm a
Yeah.
little afraid of his injury. I think that maybe he's not going to return to 100% form. And the thing is, in Arizona, there's a target problem. There's a lot of dudes there trying to catch the ball from Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe he won't put up the numbers, maybe he'll put them up in like the big spots like he did against Buffalo one time. But like he's a big spot receiver. Sorry, Josh. But again, like numbers wise, I don't know that he's going to be able to put those up again. And like I said, I think Jefferson's going to have a much better year than Tyreek Hill. So I think it'll be, maybe he'll be fourth, Adams, Cup, and Diggs. But I think Jefferson's right there. Like Mike Evans there, he's still so underrated. People forget about him. The guy just catches touchdowns. He's 6'5". He jumps up and he makes the catch. Contested in the end zone, good luck, because that guy's going to rip the ball out of your hands, and it's a touchdown for him every time. I think Terry McLaurin's a little high, 91. I think Keenan Allen's better than him. And the one I think is really high is Amari Cooper. This guy should not be on the list. Straight up.
Who would you trade out with him?
Jamar Chase. I don't see why Jamar Chase isn't in this.
What is Jamar Chase's rating? Do you know?
I think he's like 86 or something like that. He's the 17th rated wide receiver, which I know he only had 1 year, but Joe Burrow got hurt his first year and didn't look amazing his first year. And after his second year, he goes to the Super Bowl and he is the 5th ranked quarterback. So, I mean, you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like 1 year with this guy. And wide receivers aren't. Yeah. And wide receivers are known to be like really big when they first start out. Yeah. Guys like that. Like he's probably going to have another huge year this year. It's not known for a rookie to come out and blow up and then the second year not do much. Like he's going to be amazing. So yeah, but I think Amari Cooper, I put Amari Cooper as like an 85, 84 maybe.
I'm not really going to disagree with anything you said, but I do think that the list is pretty fair. I mean, you could change a couple here and there, but it's not going to change drastically.
Those top 7 are the top 7 in the league to me.
Yeah.
I would change up a little bit how they're listed, but those are the top 7. But I think maybe I'd go Keenan Allen 8, Jamar Chase number 9. That's how I would do it. And if Chase has another year like that, how do you not put him in right there in the top 5, 6 guys? Like, how do you not? Like,
yeah.
So, edge rushers, I want to talk about them real quick, which we don't have to go super in depth with these guys, but I want to have a discussion about them for sure. Number 1, Myles Garrett. He's in the 99 club. TJ Watt, second, 96. Nick Bosa's a 94. Von Miller's a 92. Khalil Mack's a 92. Joey Bosa's a 91. Cameron Jordan's a 91 as well. DeMarcus Lawrence and Chandler Jones are both 90s. Rashawn Gary's an 89. You thinking the same thing I'm thinking here?
You go ahead and tell me what you're thinking, and I'll.
I don't know. I mean, I think Myles Garrett is incredible, but how do you put him 3 overall higher than
TJ Watt? Yeah, no.
How do you do that? Like, what? I mean, I'm okay with Myles Garrett being like a 98 and TJ being a 99. I'm okay with that. But how is TJ a 96 when Myles is a 99, bro? Like, those are obviously the top 2 edge rushers in the league. I don't think there's an argument there. But I think there's an argument who's number 1. If you look at every stat ever, it's TJ Watt.
For sure. Yep.
Impact he's had, like, tied the sack record and only didn't even play in like 2 of the games. And so I don't know.
Man, I'm just
and like I said, I love Myles Garrett
in the top 10, man, or top 5.
Yeah, I think Von Miller is a great pickup for you guys. And if he can have the year like he had last year, or just disrupt like he did in the playoffs, man, you guys really don't even need him for the regular season. Like, just let him sit on a shelf. Yeah. Bring him in the postseason and let him wreck. Let him blow up Patrick Mahomes on that 13-second drive. I guarantee you he's not getting both those passes out. Guarantee you. I mean, you got him rushing you from the edge. And I'm not trying to bring that, but I'm just saying, that was at the ESPYs, they said that was the best game of the year, which I agree it was.
No, for sure.
But in a game like that, you throw a guy like Von Miller in there, and you tell me that outcome's not different.
Yeah.
So I think it was great for you guys. I really like that pickup. But there's other guys I don't disagree with. I think Nick Bosa is definitely 3rd. He's a beast, and he's still really young. But TJ's got to be number one for me.
Yep, I
Got to
agree.
be. So, and then corners, I want to talk about them real quick. Number one, Jalen Ramsey's a 98. Jair Alexander is a 94. Tre'Davious White's a 93. Slay and Denzel Ward are both 92s. Marshawn Lattimore and Stephon Diggs are both 91s. J.C. Jackson, Marlon Humphrey are 90s, and A.J. Terrell is an 89. You got any thoughts
Wait,
here? You
what?
like Tre'Davious? Huh? Wait, what?
You say Stephon Diggs? You meant Gilmore?
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Trayvon Diggs there for a second. I'm like,
I was actually surprised that Trayvon Diggs was not in the top 10.
yeah, I am too. But I mean, for the top three, no, I agree with that. I agree with that for the most part.
Yeah, I think Tre'Davious White, obviously, once he comes back, he's full bill of health and everything, right? Coming into the year.
No, I mean, I'm
He's
hearing
not?
that he's not going to be back until like, I think it was like November, something like that. Yeah.
That's rough. Well, but when he's on there, I mean, he's a shutdown corner, and there's no way
Mhm.
to really get around that. I was surprised Jalen Ramsey's not a 99 because he was last
I am
year.
too. Yeah.
But I mean, again, 99, 98, whatever, still should be the top rated
Same thing,
guy.
pretty
It's
much.
not,
Yep.
it's not really close to me. I think he's definitely a top corner. Um, Jair Alexander is a guy who goes unnoticed a lot on the Packers, and I think he's just shut down. He's just quiet. Nobody hears about him because nobody's catching big stuff on him.
Mhm.
He's nuts. Big play Slay, Darius Slay at 92. He's kind of a boomer bust guy for me. I mean, he makes some big interceptions, but he also gives up some big plays sometimes. So I think Denzel Ward's better than him, but I don't know. Denzel Ward's also an Ohio State guy, so
Yeah, a little
cover
bias
that there.
there. I was.
Dude, there's a couple of Ohio State guys on this. Oh, Marshawn Lattimore.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I really like this list. Um, you know, for Marlon Humphrey, I think maybe he could be a little bit higher. I really like Marlon Humphrey. I think the aggressiveness he plays with really fits on the Ravens. And he's a guy who he'll lock down anybody. And he's a big bodied corner. He's not like one of these skinnier corners who can only guard wide receivers. He can go out there and he can guard Travis Kelce. He can guard those big tight ends. I really like his aggressiveness there. So I think maybe he could be a little higher. Then AJ Terrell, I kind of expected him to be an 89-ish, 90, but the guy technically had some of the best stats in football last year
Yeah.
in next gen. So, and people were trying to pass on the Falcons because they knew that there wasn't a whole lot the defense could do otherwise. So, would have liked to see him maybe a little bit higher, but again, those guys that are in front of him are all proven in more than 1 year. I mean, all these guys have had really big years elsewhere. So, really like the list though. You got any other thoughts on that?
No, man, I'm just ready for football. You have
Me
no
too.
idea.
And talking about Madden ratings is whatever. Maybe some people don't care about it, and I don't really care as far as Madden goes.
Mhm.
But first of all, it's in the media, so we want to talk about it. And two, we just really love football, and I want to have any reason I can to talk about football.
Yep. Anything and everything football wise, I'm down.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm really excited for the year. Not as much as a Giants fan. I mean, I'm excited to see our rookies. I think we have a good class coming in. Kayvon Thibodeau, Evan Neal, even a couple of our second, third, fourth rounders. I'm excited to see, but I'm really just more excited for the sport to see where things go. And I said this last year, and I'll say it again this year. But Josh, I really think it's the Bills' year. I thought it was last year, and they came within a couple plays of it being their year. But I think they're the team to beat. I think they went out and said, you know what, we need that big time edge rusher, and they got him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's really big for them to get that acquisition. And I also saw that fake rumor. OBJ signed with the Bills, and I saw that and I was like, what? And then I go look and saw it was fake. But I mean, if you guys were to get another threat like that, I mean, you guys have Diggs and Gabriel Davis and even Knox has
I'm
been
expecting a
big for you
big
guys.
year from Davis, dude. I follow him on Instagram, and that dude has gained a lot of muscle and has put in a lot of work this offseason. So
Well, I'll tell you what, if he can play the Chiefs for 17 games in a row, he would be the best receiver in the history of football.
For real.
The guy out there making them look stupid.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys can do. I think, if Nate was on here, we talked about the Rams a little bit too. I mean, I think that, they didn't lose a whole lot. And they lost Von Miller. Obviously, you're going to lose stuff like that, but most of their team back,
Mhm.
and just excited to see where they go from here. See if they're going to still be the real deal out there. I mean, they're in a tough division, which, I mean, for you guys, they keep saying the AFC East is going to be tough, and I don't think it is at all. The Jets, they've improved
I
a
don't
little
know,
bit, but
man.
not a whole lot. The Dolphins, it really depends on how Tua plays. And again, if I'm a betting man, I'd bet on the downfall of that man, because all I've ever seen is him just come short.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think the Dolphins are going to surprise some people. Every year for some reason, over the Patriots, over the Jets, I dread playing the Dolphins, dude. Even though Josh Allen has put up
well,
crazy stats against them, it just seems like every game that we play with them, for the most part, it's for the first half, I guess I should say, it's close. So
mhm.
I don't know.
Well, and honestly, I mean, I know that I'm a Giants fan. I'm not playing the Dolphins this year, as far as I'm aware. But if I was a fan of the Bills, I would be more scared of them being under Brian Flores than being under, um, McDaniels. Isn't that
Yeah.
who their coach is now?
No. Are you
I'd be
saying
more
Josh
scared of them under.
McDaniels?
No, what's his name? Josh what? What's his name?
I don't even
The
know.
Dolphins coach?
I have no
He's
idea.
that
I
he's
know he's
that
like
like
a
dweeby looking guy.
nerdy dude. Yeah. I know who you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
What's his name? It's Josh something, I think.
I have no idea.
No,
But
Mike
no,
McDaniel. That's what it is. Mike
okay.
McDaniel. Yeah,
No,
that guy's a dweeb.
yeah, I
Not
don't know.
not afraid of his offense. Is supposed to be his calling card. Uh, but the reason Dolphins have been so scary to play is because they didn't have a whole bunch of big names on the defense, and were still able to play great defense.
Yeah, which I mean, I
So,
agree with you. I still don't understand why the Dolphins got rid of Flores. I
mhm.
just like everybody else was extremely shocked by that. But I don't know.
I
I'm
think
still
a,
I'm still like with the way the defense has played. If they could play how they have under Flores,
for
whatever,
sure.
however you say it, then they could be scary, especially with the pickup of Tyreek Hill. And like you said, I mean, I think everybody knows it just depends on how Tua plays, how Tua and
For
Tyreek
sure.
Hill match up together. I don't. It's definitely not going to be how Tyreek Hill was with the Chiefs under Mahomes, but I don't know. I think
Yeah, they
they could
might have
still
to
be
get one of
scary
those.
though.
There was one of those football launchers from behind that
Jug
Tua can just
machines.
put it in the jug machine, just shoot it out to him. Here we go, Tua or Tyreek down there somewhere. Uh, but no, I mean, the one thing that I will say before we go is, if I'm looking at the Dolphins, I'd be more scared of, like I said, them under Flores, because their defense was crazy. And in
Yeah.
that AFC East, if you're the Bills and you're having a matchup with the Dolphins, now they're going to try to match you tit for tat on your offense. They're turning into an
Mhm.
offensive team with McDaniels, with Tua, with Tyreek. And I don't care who they've added. The quarterback disparity is so big between him and Josh Allen
Yeah.
that I don't like the Dolphins' chances at all.
Yeah.
So I think that the Dolphins got. I don't think they really got much better. They got Tyreek Hill, but they lost a great coach, in my opinion.
Oh,
So
no, I agree. It just depends on how the coach is with I'm not gonna say they got
maybe
any
he's
better or
fine,
any worse, but it's all about the
but
coaching, man.
yep. So we'll see. I'm excited to see it though. But I have been toying with the idea. I have become the co-commissioner of that fantasy football league, and we are going to find a time that's good for everybody to draft. Maybe it'll be a Saturday night, maybe it'll be a Sunday night. But regardless, we are going to go live during our
Am I still in
fantasy
that?
football draft. Yeah, as long
Okay,
as you
bet.
want to be. Yeah,
No, yeah,
I really
yeah,
would like you to be for the stream.
yeah.
But I would really like to. We're gonna obviously clean it up a little bit, get some guys out of there that don't want to play, and get some guys in there that I know want to play, to make it competitive, make it fun. But we will have that live here on the live stream. And once football season starts, man, I mean, I know I'm a huge baseball fan. I love baseball, but our discussions are best when it's about football. And we're going to have some great discussions. We're going to have a lot of fun. Can't wait for it to start. But that's all we got for tonight. So, Josh, thanks for hopping on, and I know you had a little time away, but we're back on the grind here, and we
Yes,
appreciate you
sir.
guys all joining us here on this lovely Sunday night. Enjoy watching this Padres Mets game, which looks like the Mets are blowing open right now, 5-1. Good old Musgrove getting hit up for like only the second time all year. So, and you guys won the first 2 games, so you can't be too upset. But maybe Padres can come back, but I don't know. They're not an offense that seems to be super clicking right now. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But guys, thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. And everybody have a great night. And go Bleacher Takes, baby. We're back.